Well, first of all, this is kind of my first international interview, live interview right here in San Antonio, Texas. And I'm pleased to discuss and obviously get to know this gentleman, Mr. Alex, who is very common with this brand, Lamborghini. And Alex, thank you also for having me.
Oh
I
yeah, of
appreciate
course.
your time. I know you're a busy man, but thanks for having me as
Yeah,
well.
it's my pleasure. I love connecting with the community, even the international community. I have followers from all over the world, so
Yeah.
it's nice to get to connect with them one on one sometimes.
Absolutely. So please let us know how is that you are connected with Lamborghini. How is connected your life, professional life, or even your life with the automotive industry? How you began? How was interest in getting to this business?
Yeah, so I've loved the Lamborghini since I was a kid, like most people out there. I think you have your 50% of boys who like Ferrari and the other 50% like Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And I was the one of the guys who liked the Lamborghini. I've always thought Ferraris were really neat, but there was always something so special about Lamborghini in general as the brand. I really loved that golden bull, but I really also enjoyed the design on the cars. So it's definitely been something that I've always wanted as just a person wanting to buy a Lamborghini like anyone else. I got into the car business probably 10 years ago,
Yes.
over 10 years ago now, but
Oh.
I started in Austin, Texas at a Honda store.
Okay.
And I really only got into it because I knew that people who sold vehicles were making great money. So I got into it. I started making really good money right away. And I started becoming, I'd say, pretty good at the sales part of it. Right off the bat, I started selling like 15 cars a month my first couple months, and then it went up to 20 to 30 cars a month. So I got really infatuated with the car business.
Yes.
And after about 3 years in, I sold close to 900 cars. I think I was 10 cars shy of 900 at my 3 year mark. And from there, I got a call from Porsche, and they invited me to open up a brand new store that was opening in Austin. So
Yes.
I did that, and I made the move. I was like their, I think, might have been the eighth person on their team. But we started at a tiny little store because we were eventually going to move to a brand new one. So they said, the new store's coming in 6 months, just hold on tight. So I did. I hunkered down. I learned the Porsche brand pretty fast. And they originally put me in the very back of a used car spot, like this
Okay.
tiny little used car building. So I tried it out, and I ended up excelling pretty quickly. I took the same volume mentality that I had at Honda, and
Yes.
I just incorporated that into the Porsche world. So I was really not on social media until my last year at Porsche,
Yeah.
and I just sold cars like a normal person. I would take calls. I would take ups, is what they call them when somebody walks into the store.
Yeah.
So I did that. I excelled very fast. I was having 20 car months at my highest peak of Porsche, and I think I got to the point to where I wasn't even wanting to leave that brand. I wanted to stay there for life because it was such a good company. The company I worked for was great, but also the brand was excellent. I really enjoyed all of the people that loved that Porsche brand.
Yes.
But after about almost 5 years in that Porsche world, I got a call from Lambo, and they were like, "Hey, we're in San Antonio. We're opening up this new store. Would you be interested?"
To be part of, right?
And I was like, man, I would love to be interested. I would love to be a part of that.
Yes.
So I said, well, I said, let me think about it because I had it really good at Porsche. So I was kind of second guessing. I was like, do I stay or do I go? And they invited me to come see the store. And when I came to see the store, it was fully under construction. So there was no store. It was just a big shell, and they were kind of painting the vision for it. And I saw it. I said, yeah, I can see where this is going to be a really neat store. And they also told me, currently you're the only salesperson we're looking at.
Yeah.
If we hired you, you would probably be the only one for a while. They said we might bring on a second person to help kind of alleviate your schedule. And that's what happened. They hired me on the spot. I was by myself for a little bit. We ended up bringing on a second person
Yeah. Okay.
a little bit after that. And then we just started running together. We weren't in the store yet. We were actually at a store down the road selling out of somebody's warehouse Lamborghinis.
Oh my God.
There was nothing to see, nothing to touch. It
Yeah.
was really all over the phone and through Instagram, through my following. At that point, I had already built up like a almost 80,000 person following on Insta.
which is very good. That's
A
actually.
lot of them were Porsche people, so it was natural that most of those buyers weren't going to translate into Lamborghinis, but there was a small percentage that actually said, you know what, I buy both cars. And at that point, a lot of my followers are also into other brands. So I ended up taking some people off of Instagram and putting them into Lamborghinis and stuff that's essentially future cars because nothing was available yet. So I said, these cars are coming in. That's it. Do you want it or not? And they were like, yep, I want it. I want it. I want it. And we started racking up sales and orders before we ever even opened our doors.
That's. I mean, I think there's a lot of information going on, but first and foremost, I think you found your passion, which is. I mean, I think every person needs to find their passion. I think when we talk about athletes, they know they want to be they want to be in a certain path. But being a salesperson, I think is a whole different level, because in the end, it's kind of the same thing. Because if you're an athlete, you have a goal, and as any individual, we have goals, we have some targets for whoever we want to do, right? But with all the things that you have said, what kind of astonishes me the most is that you were in the right place in the right time.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that it's been a whole process to get here. It's not about just because you were someplace and now you're here. No, I think because it's all about work. It's about developing a strategy, developing who you are also as a person. I think that's kind of something that people appreciate. And I think it's something that we really have to value with that.
Yeah.
Because I have to say it right away, not because we just make this interview. You are very, very, you have this quality. Let's say it, that you're very open, and that's something that really, is kind of magnetic. And I think that's one of the things I always cherish the most at the first sight that I try to contact you. And I think that's something I really appreciate because for me, my thought was an instant no, right? I thought that, but in the end, we are here. So
Yeah.
I think that's something I just want to, tell you right away. Again, not because we're just making an interview, but it speaks a lot about your quality as a person. It really does.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. When he first reached out,
Yeah.
I was like, man, is he really going to come in all the way from Mexico? Because they are from Mexico. You guys are
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
not from San Antonio.
No.
So I was like, man, if they're up for driving all the way down here, let's do it. I've had people driving as far as like Austin to do interviews. Some from Houston, some from out of state who were just in San Antonio already, so they just came and visited
That's
with
it.
me.
Yeah.
I showed them around, but at the end of the day, I think this is a people business. So as long as us on this side of the car world, the people that sell them, can treat people right, and you can actually just treat them like you care,
Yeah.
then the whole business part's very easy because the cars literally sell themselves. As long as you have somebody who's a really nice, good representative, who's knowledgeable, then the business will take care of itself. So our part is just take care of the people, regardless whether they can afford it or not.
Yes.
Just give them a good experience, give them good care, and one day either them or somebody they know will come back and they'll buy a car
Yeah.
from us.
Absolutely.
Because I bet you probably have a phone book full of different individuals who can
Yeah.
easily afford any of these cars. So
Yeah.
if I take care of you one on one in this certain situation, then you might say, hey, you know what, Alex down in San Antonio, super easy to deal with. You would definitely love working with him.
Yeah,
So
I know, and that's the thing. That's the thing, and also I think that yeah, it was a challenge, but in the end, I have like I really want to do this because for me, I didn't see it just as another interview. For me, I think it's a great experience because in the end, that's what it is. The brand itself, as you already said, you don't have to do nothing very special. The
really not.
brand has been here for years, for decades,
Yeah.
so you don't have to do anything else. So maybe just put the right amount of details of whoever's going to afford it, whoever's going to come by to the store and say, I want a Lambo. So I think that's one of the things. But I believe that's something that, and I just kind of see it right away also, is like this is not just a regular car store. It's an experience, as you already mentioned. So I think you customize your car. So it has a lot of value. Nowadays, you go and, okay, this is just red and white, and that's it.
Yeah.
But here, I can tell is a different level. And I think that's part of the why this brand is so special around the world.
Yeah, the customization side of it is huge because many of the people that come in and buy these cars, they've been dreaming about these cars their whole lives. But
Yes.
for them to actually come in and say, you know what, my dream car is Lamborghini, but my dream color is purple, and I want the purple interior stitching, or I want the purple interior, the bicolor leathers. So we do all that. We give you those options because we don't want to limit your dream. We
No.
really want you to excel in that dream and build it in a way that when you go and show it off, you're proud of it,
Yeah.
and people see it on the road and they're also happy, even though it's not their car.
Hmm.
Think about the last time you saw a Lamborghini on the road. Right away, your heart starts beating a little bit faster, and you're like, "Oh my
Yeah, it
god!
does. It
Like I can't
does.
believe that's a Lamborghini. Get closer to it. Drive faster, mom or dad." A lot of times when I was in the car as a kid, I was like, "Go fast, go fast! I want to
I
see it."
want to see it.
And I
Yeah.
just get a little glimpse of it, and then just that really exotic color on the exotic car is what like people become passionate about really quickly.
Yeah.
So
True.
um, that's why we set it up in a way that right when you walk in, the configuration room is kind of the main
Yeah.
just thing that catches your eye, because we have a beautiful showroom, but then you see this different style walls in here, like what is that place? And then you see different textures and different leathers, and right away you know, okay, there's some customization that happens in that room. And I showed you a little bit about it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
It did. It did.
sometimes it could
It
become
did.
overwhelming if you're on computer building your car and you see all these different colors. You're like, I don't know what I want to pick. I thought I wanted purple, but maybe I want a yellow one, or maybe I want an orange one. So that's where you come in and you meet with somebody one on one, and you can talk to them and say, hey, you know what? Here's kind of where my head's at, and I give you the reality of the situation. I say, you know what? If you build this car in that color in that combo, it may be hard to sell after the fact because me and you think it's cool, but majority of the people might say, you know what? It's a little bit crazy. So, and I've had
Yeah.
colors like that and cars that were built like that. So that's where we come in as consultants to help steer you in that right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to ask you right away also, how do you see Lambo, like the current state of the brand and perhaps for the next 5, 10 years? I know maybe you don't have the right away the answers
Yeah.
and maybe you don't have it
Mm-hmm.
because we don't know how it's going to be the market with all this, noise around and
Yeah.
maybe tariffs, I must say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But how do you see, because you have a lot of experience in this business, but how do you see this brand that sometimes it's like, no, it's not going to affect, but in the end, every single car, every
Mm-hmm.
single brand is going to be affected in some way, some degree.
Yeah. You know, we're definitely in a turning point right now in the whole automotive situation. Tariffs has kind of been on a lot of people's minds, but I think at the end of the day, you got to look at it like this: these people are still people. They've worked their entire lives to get to this point where they can afford that Lamborghini. So if one tariff kind of jumps in the way of that dream, I don't think it's going to stop them.
Okay.
As a brand, Lamborghini is stronger than ever. We've delivered more cars than ever. And originally, like if you look at Lamborghini 15 years ago, they were only making 2,800 cars a year for the world. Now we're making 10,600 as of 2024. So we've come a long way in that regard with the actual production and the volume levels.
Yeah.
But as a brand, when you think about it, there's a few other brands that can compare and give you the same level of performance, design, um, just overall established brand that's top level luxury. You're looking at Lamborghini, Ferrari, some would even say like your Aston Martins. Some might even throw Maserati in there. But it's not like a ton of options like you have on your normal volume brands, like with your Hondas, your Toyotas, your Fords, your GMCs. Those guys out there, they're all over the place, and people are kind of used to them. But for the folks out there who are working their butts off
Yeah.
to hit that certain goal, cars are always going to be a big thing for them. So at the end of the day, you got to make a decision whether you want to go with the Lamborghini, which in my mind, if you look at this car, it has so many just advanced angles, advanced design. Everything is so special about it. Versus like you go and take a look at a Ferrari, and it's a very classic design,
Yeah.
but I think it's so expected that you don't get that feeling like you get when you see a Lamborghini. When people see our Lamborghinis pulling up to a car show, they automatically flock over. And there can be Ferraris and there can be other
Other
really nice
brands.
vehicles
Yeah.
like Porsches and stuff in the same parking lot. But as soon as that Lambo arrives, people start moving over because this is such a different looking car. And that's what we have, is we have the ability to stick behind a brand, essentially stand on the shoulders of these giants, Lamborghini,
Yep.
and help push this thing forward. But as a company, they keep pushing the performance side of things. They keep increasing power, but at the same time, they're increasing our designs like never before. Like, take a look at the Revolto, one of the coolest cars I've ever seen, period. And we're selling that to the public. It's not just a car that we only sell to billionaires who
Oh,
have
no.
racetracks.
Oh, no,
That's a car
no.
for the public, and you can tell Lamborghini put a lot of thought into the overall design and the power plant, which is a V12 naturally aspirated, connected to a hybrid system with 3 motors, has 1,000 horsepower, and that's just the baseline of where they're going. The future is way brighter than you think.
I can see that. And I appreciate all this information, Alex, because in the end, again, it's not about just making an interview. For me, it's getting to know everything, every single detail about this brand. And I think that's kind of a learning process, you know, and I think that's kind of the main purpose from my side. And I think everyone who is going to see this, it has to understand that, well, we are not discussing just about cars. We are discussing about business. We're discussing about how do you get into this, obviously in your story,
Yeah.
but I think, sincerely, I think this is not about cars only. I think it's more about getting to know where you're at. Again, the passion side, and I think that's kind of the things I always want to stress. And as such as you, your story, I think everyone has to follow your path, your experience, and I think
Yeah.
that's something I really, again, I appreciate. And well, I mean, for me, is very clear everything we have discussed so far. And I think that's something I, again, this for me is a great pleasure to
Yeah.
really talk to you.
Yeah, it's fun. I like sharing my passion. I'm very passionate about vehicles. I would do this job for free if I could live and sustain,
Yeah.
but luckily they actually pay me very well to do what I do. And a lot of people would like to be in the position that I'm in, because in the car world, there's thousands and thousands of salespeople that sell all over the country, and they're probably incredible salespeople.
Yeah.
I, like you said, was just kind of at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
I knew the right people, and I kind of got fitted into this whole thing. So I'm just making the best out of it.
Yep.
And that means that at the end of the day, I want to give my full on best experience possible.
So just one last question. Well, actually, two questions.
Yeah,
Number
sure.
one, what do you would say to yourself, to that little kid, that little Alex? What kind of advice will you give yourself? That's number one.
Mhm.
And number two, I have a social media manager out here in front of me, and she asked me if we can just kind of have a little taste of driving
Yeah,
a Lambo.
sure.
But first, I think that's kind of the first question is very clear because
Yeah.
I think it's quite important.
Yeah, if I was to go and talk to myself at, I'd say, 12 years old, whenever I started really understanding this whole deal, I would say stick to the plan. Because when I was that age, I already kind of had a plan to do something in sales because I liked working with people.
Yeah.
So I would say just stick to the plan. Really get into the car business early, because when I was 20, I got into the business when I was like 24 years old, and I should have probably gotten in when I was 18.
Oh, I see.
But I wanted to try different stuff. I wanted to learn. I went to college. I did that whole thing. And if I could go back, I think I would have get into the car business when I was 18 years old. Probably 16 if I can just start washing cars and just being around this business and this industry.
Okay.
That's what I probably should have done. I think I took too long to do it, and I missed years and years of good experience. But I think things happen for a reason, because if I would have gotten into the game earlier, then there's a chance I probably wouldn't have been here now, because my life would have probably put me into some kind of store running the management side of it, being a GM, where you make great money, but you don't have the opportunity to be around cars like this and the customers that are associated with this brand that are very special people. I mean, you talk about majority of the Lambo customers that we interact with came from nothing. These are
Yeah.
people that they had a dream when they were kids, but they were in situations that weren't really so bright that looked like they weren't going to amount to anything if you just look at where they were coming from. So when you get to hear those stories and meet these people, it makes this job 10 times better than just selling cars. It's all about giving the experience to that person who
Yes.
they've dreamed about it so long, they're finally here, they can afford it. How are we going to act as the people that sell them the car? really we were going to treat it like we're the Walt Disney World of buying cars.
Yeah.
For adults, we want you to come in, we want to give you that dream experience, but also the dream care. Like, you can call me at 3 in the morning with a flat tire. I'm going to answer it. I can come pick you up. I'll be on the ball. And all of my colleagues here work like that, because it's not just about cars. It's about service.
Yeah.
That's really what
I
it is.
agree.
Because
I
you can
agree.
put any car brand on the front of this building. As long as we give it the right service, we are going to succeed. Because most people have kind of lost sight of that. They just see themselves as, there's a car that somebody needs no matter what, so we're going to sell it no matter what. Doesn't matter. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, here's a car that they can buy anywhere. How can we treat them better here than they would go down the road? So that's really what our focus is on, the best customer service possible.
Okay. I understand.
But yeah,
Understood.
if you want to go and get a little taste of a Lamborghini, I have a Lamborghini Urus SE, the new 2025,
Good.
789 horsepower, that we can go and take down the road and just
Sure.
get a little taste of it.
Okay. Should we go then?
Let's do it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Of course, man.
There you go. So let's go to drive the Urus. Thank you. See you around.